Everything that you've been looking for, every solution, every problem, every source of suffering, everything that you've been trapped in a cycle of is all available. The answers are all available to you in the unknown. And in this video, I'm going to explain to you how to tap into the unknown so that you can get to the root of whatever it is that you're suffering for. My name is David Hawes, and for the past 20 years, I've spent my life uncovering why I am the way I am. And today's video is probably the thing that I think is the most important, which is about learning how to remove the noise of the mind so that we can plug into the present moment and get connected to the infinite intelligence that's been available to us at all times. This is not something that's unique to me. It's available to each and every one of us. And in this video, I'm going to explain to you how to do it, what it is, some of the common mistakes, and I'll give you a few examples from my own life on how I use this ability to connect. So let's get started with what is the unknown. So the unknown is essentially collective consciousness, infinite intelligence. It is God, it is the universe, it is all powerful, all present, and all knowing. It is the energy that connects each and every one of us. And that energy is like the universal hard drive. Every problem that has ever existed that's already been answered a million times over. And most of us have gotten disconnected from that power because we have begun to identify more with ego, which is just the mind, than we have with higher self or consciousness. So everyone is trying to solve their problems, no matter what they are, physically, emotionally, mentally. And these are the three areas that we are trying to solve problems for. But the real place that we need to solve from is a soul level, because the soul, our consciousness, who we really are, is removed from body, mind, and emotions. And so when we step out of that limited circle of what we know, we can then plug into the infinite, and then we can get the answers to any question. So the way this looks is like, if you can remember like the old cartoons with like the dam. And so there's like a cartoon character and he puts his finger in a hole of the dam, and then all of a sudden another hole pops up over here, and now he puts his finger, and then he puts his toe, and he continues to go through this process. And the more the holes continue to pop up, the more panic, the more stress that this cartoon character begins to feel. And this is exactly where most people get trapped, is they have a problem and they continue to throw solutions at it. They try and get more knowledge. They try and add things out there in order to patch up the holes in this dam. But plugging into the unknown would look like asking ourselves the question of, why are we trying to hold back this water in the first place? And when we recognize that, we may recognize that the dam was just created to protect ourselves from the fear of being hurt or injured, the fear of losing our wealth, the fear of judgment. And when we see that, we can recognize that there is no need to plug any of these holes, and we can just let the dam release. And when that happens, there is no effort that has to go into it. It just happens automatically. It doesn't mean we don't do anything. We get out of this panic and this force of trying to plug these holes, and we just allow everything to flow because we are no longer fearful of the outcome. And so what do you need to know in order to learn how to plug into this? So Joe Dispenza is basically doing this work, and he says it is through the present moment that the unknown is revealed to us. And so he's teaching people how to meditate so that they can connect to this present moment, so they can get these downloads of information from this universal hard drive. But I think the most important piece of learning how to connect, and for some of us it's easier. I've had like a natural ability my whole life to go from the mental body to the soul very easily and connect to this infinite. But for others it takes more time. And I think the first thing to recognize is that the mind has one function, and that is to keep you alive. And so it will fill you with endless protections through thoughts to prepare you or protect you from re-experiencing pain that you ever went through. So, like for example, if you ever almost fell off a high space, the mind will, next time you climb a ladder, the mind will remind you of that and trying to prepare you so that you don't make the same mistake again and experience physical pain. You touch a hot stove, the mind reminds you to make sure you never touch the hot stove again. But this is also happening with our emotions. So we experience deep emotional pain. It doesn't even have to be gigantic things. It could be something very subtle and simple. The mind begins to create systems to protect you from that pain. Those systems become the noise of the mind. And so when we begin to recognize what we're protecting ourselves from, we can lower that noise, or call it lowering the entropy. And so as we lower this entropy, we begin to get more connected to the present moment. The other thing that is stealing our connection is our phones, essentially, our distractions. We have become more and more distracted. It's almost like, even if you just tune into this for a second with me, you can feel the energy of your phone in your pocket or on the table as you're watching this video, or you're probably watching this video on your phone actually. So you can feel the energy. You just tune into like when you don't have your phone with you. you can feel the energy of being disconnected from your phone, okay? And so that need for distraction is noise in the mind. That noise in the mind prevents us from connecting to the present moment. So in order to get rid of the noise, we have to put the distractions away, not forever, just temporarily, and we have to begin creating awareness around how the mind's protecting us. Then the third thing we have to do is we just have to begin to get silent. And this takes practice. We have all kinds of protocols for our health, for our wealth, for our relationships. We're doing things daily to try and make those areas of our life better. But what are we doing for our connection to all, for our soul? Nothing. None of us are doing anything. And so all we want to do in that present moment, even if we experience 1 second of being completely present, it is more powerful than trying to figure something out for a lifetime, right? And this is how powerful this is. And so you've experienced this already. We've had everyone that's watching this video has had shower clarity, where it's like you've been trying to solve a problem and then all of a sudden in the shower, bang, the answer comes to you, or this amazing business idea will come to you in the shower. Why? Because for a second you plugged into that universal intelligence through the present moment. And so as we begin to connect through this present moment more and more, we will begin getting the answers, and the answers will be revealed from the silence. So as you sit in a meditation, the mind will be racing. And so all we want to do is we want to begin stepping back from those thoughts, almost like we are observing a stream, and every leaf that floats through the stream is a thought. So we don't want to identify as the leaf. We don't want to pick the leaf up and give it a story. We just want to observe it and let it pass. And as you do this, distance between the leaves begins to get greater and greater. And eventually, as Joe Dispenza lays out, we become no one or nobody. And when we become that, we get connected to this present moment. And from that silence, that's when the answers are revealed to us. And when those answers are revealed to you, you have to know how to decipher them. And that's the next step. So you're sitting in this beautiful present moment, then all of a sudden an image of something arises to you, right? Then you don't understand what it is. All you have to do at that moment is just say, okay, what does this mean? And then we again connect to the present moment and wait for that answer to be revealed to us. When you do this, you can make gigantic leaps in whatever it is that you're suffering from, or whatever it is you're trying to solve in your life. If you're poor, the root of your being poor is not that you're not working hard enough or you don't have enough opportunities. It could be that you have a belief system that you are not deserving of wealth, okay? And so this is something that has been revealed for me and other clients as well. And so once you solve for where that began in your life, once you uncover why that was in your awareness in the first place, you can make gigantic leaps with respect to wealth. If you're sick, you may think that the reason that you're sick is because you caught some sort of disease, but in reality, you have a deep sense of guilt and you don't feel like you're worthy of living a healthy life. And because of that, you literally manifest sickness into your life. So once you solve for the guilt, the sickness goes away. This is the power that exists when we step outside the circle of what we know. Now, does that mean that we stop reading and stop learning? Of course not. We can still expand the circle like that. But if you think of this as the circle of what you know, you read a book, you take a course, your circle expands. If this circle represents everything that you know, this room could represent everything that you have yet to know. So if you're trying to solve a problem, where would you rather go? This tiny limited circle or the infinite? And the answer, of course, is simple. And so learning how to get rid of the noise of the mind, plug into the present moment so that we begin to get downloads of information. A common mistake that we'll make, and I'm still making this mistake, I just laid this all out in a podcast, is that even with the knowledge of that we can plug in at any time, the ego, which is just the little voice inside your head, will continue to try and solve because it wants to claim ownership over everything. It wants to be the source of figuring this thing out. But in fact, the figuring out is becoming a source of suffering as well. And so in order to begin to plug into that present moment, and a mistake that we have to be aware of is that we may get trapped in figuring it out. And once you observe that you're trapped in figuring out, the next step will be to connect to the present moment. So I've been trapped in trying to figure things out for a lifetime, even though I'm aware that I just need to step out of figuring out and plug into the present moment, but I'm resistant to it because maybe there's an answer in there that I don't actually want to see. So that could be one of the things. Another common mistake is lack of consistency, right? And so I tell my clients that they are ready to go off into the world when the curiosity about uncovering who they are becomes a part of their everyday life, right? And so when you stop reading books about whatever your interest is and you start reading books about consciousness, when you start to crave the silence, that's when you know that you're en route to this consistent action towards constantly revealing the source of whatever it is that you're suffering from. So consistency is key. We want to have hygiene for the mind and soul, just like we have hygiene for the body. And one of the major benefits of doing this work, connecting to the present moment, is that as you get good, you don't have to sit in meditation anymore. You can literally just ask for a truth to be revealed to you, and it will be revealed to you sometimes in an instant, but sometimes it'll be revealed to you over time. Like if you have an issue and you don't know the answer, you don't have to sit in this big long meditation. You can essentially just say, I need the answer to this, and the answer will be revealed to you, right? And so as you do this over and over again, the answers come flooding in. The more the answers come flooding in, and this is one of the big benefits, the more you begin to trust in this process. The more you trust in this process, the more you plug in, the faster you take these leaps in life. We don't want to be on this slow train of growth. We want to make giant leaps, right? And this is what you can get from plugging into the present moment. And lastly, I'll just give you an example from my own personal life. So I've been doing this work for a long time. I've been connected to the pursuit of higher states of consciousness for the past 20 years. And even though I know this and I do this work all the time, and I've gotten some deep answers that have created gigantic leaps, and you can go listen to the podcast where I talk about some of these on this topic, but this is like a real practical one. My plan was to write a book, which I've never done yet, but my plan was to write a book, and I have like journals that look essentially like this. And so in one of these journals, I had written all of the chapters to the book that came to me intuitively by plugging into the present moment. So they came to me and I just scribbled them all out on this book. And so I made the decision that I was going to start working on the book. And so I started looking for that journal and I couldn't find it anywhere. And so I did what I normally did. I did what the ego wanted me to do. I tried to figure it out. I looked in my car. I looked in my office. I looked throughout my entire house. I started blaming my wife for moving it. I looked in my business. I did all of these things. And then finally, it came to me to just get silent and connect to this all-knowing, all-powerful, all-present energy. If the energy really exists and it is all-powerful, all-present, all-knowing, the answer should be revealed to me in a second. And so I closed my eyes and I sat quietly and I just asked. And to me, it's God. And I just said, God, where are these journals? And then the first thing that came to me from the silence was, don't tempt God. And I was like, I'm not trying to tempt God. I believe God exists. I believe the energy of interconnectedness exists. And so I'm not trying to tempt. I just need to know where the journals are. So that was a leaf that passed. The next awareness that came to me was somebody stole them. And I was like, well, okay, I think that's my own thought because I don't think anyone would steal them. So I observed that thought and I let it pass. I reconnect to the silence. The third awareness that came from the silence was, it wasn't taken by your own hand. And so now I'm like, okay, this is like a message from beyond the circle of what I know, because I wouldn't even talk like that. I wouldn't say that sentence. And then the last awareness was, the journals are always in the drawer, which is a drawer next to my desk where I was actually doing the meditation, but I had looked through that drawer 100 times and haven't been able to find them. So then, not really getting a clear answer, I opened my eyes out of the meditation. I opened up the drawer, and in that moment, I recognized that the drawer was very full. There was 50 of these journals in that drawer. And so I instantly pulled the drawer completely out from its slot. And behind the drawer was the single journal that had been knocked off by the other drawer. So it wasn't taken by my own hand, but it was still in that drawer. I had spent 2.5 days searching for this journal, and in a 5-minute meditation, the truth was revealed to me. And this has happened to me over and over and over again. But the funny thing is I go in waves of connectedness. And one of the things that I recognize is the more distracted I get, the more I catch the mind trying to protect me, the more I find myself on my phone, the less connected I am to this infinite power. So I guess the call to action for this video is to begin to create a practice of disconnection and then asking. This is like a two-way prayer. It's not just sitting in silence for the sake of sitting in silence. It's sitting in silence with an intention to have the truth to whatever it is that you are struggling with to be revealed to you. Now, the other thing that you want to do is you don't want to go in with any expectation. You just want to sit there the same way I did. And it's I don't have an expectation. If the answer comes to me, great. If it doesn't, that's fine as well. So no expectation. If nothing comes of it, maybe you experience 30 seconds of the peace that exists in the present moment. And that in itself will be insanely beneficial, which may allow whatever truth that you need to be revealed, the space to be revealed down the road. So no expectations and consistency would be the key to this. And I just suggest that whatever it is the question is, you can start with smaller things like, where's my journal? But then eventually lead into the bigger questions that have been plaguing you your whole entire life. I hope this video helped you. If you got any value from it whatsoever, you want to see more content just like this, don't forget to like and subscribe. It helps me and it helps you as well. We'll see you again on the next video.